Satisfactory 1.1 will be releasing tomorrow to the experimental branch, and given that we've had no confirmation as to the time, it does look like we're going to get a little bit of a shadow drop for once. And that's because Mikhail's on holiday at the moment, the community manager, and also there's no Coffee Stain Studio dev stream planned. So with that in mind, normally they release the updates around 5 PM CEST. However, we could possibly be seeing this one earlier, so do keep your eyes peeled throughout the day. I'm also going to be streaming pretty much the majority of the day, both here and on Twitch as well. So if you're not sure, you can always jump into the stream and ask me and I'll happily let you know. Now, it goes without saying that an experimental branch is experimental. You may come across bugs that need fixing, or maybe even have crashes that they'll need to update out of the game. This is the whole point of the experimental branch. They bring it to those who want access to it early so they can get valuable feedback as to how they can improve or stabilize, I should say, the update for everyone else when it reaches full access, normally a month to 6 weeks after its release. So if you're not interested in having to potentially deal with bugs or crashes or even corruptions to your saves, which we'll talk about shortly, then I do recommend that you leave experimental branch until it's ready for the full release branch. So with that in mind, if you do want to check out the update yourself, then you are going to have to update the game to the experimental branch. And there are two methods of doing that. The first is with Steam. So if you're playing the game on Steam, you'll want to go to your Steam game library, find Satisfactory, right click it, and then from there go down to properties. Click that, that will open up a little page. And then if you go down to the beta option, you can click that. And then across from, I think it's beta participation, there's a little drop down list which you can click on. And from there, you'll have either, I think it'll say empty or none, followed by underneath the experimental branch. So just click on the experimental branch, and then closing that page will start updating the game to the experimental branch. And once it's fully updated, you'll be able to play experimental. If you're playing on Epic though, you'll have to open the Epic launcher, go to your library, and there you'll find two versions of Satisfactory. There'll be Satisfactory full release branch. I think it'll just be Satisfactory, maybe Satisfactory 1.0. And then next to that, you'll also have Satisfactory experimental. So all you want to do there is update or download the experimental version, and once it's fully downloaded, you'll be able to access the experimental version of Satisfactory. Because Satisfactory experimental is experimental and there may be problems, it's really important that you back up your saves. They repeat this every time there is an experimental update, and it goes without saying that you should be doing that now. All you need to do is copy your save folder and paste that in another location so that in the event of a file corruption, you can replace the new corrupted files with the old backup saves. In my whole time playing Satisfactory on experimental over the last 5 years, I believe I have only had one corrupt save, and that was the very first update of the game. So though it is infrequent, it does happen and it's good to be aware of. There's also been an issue in the past with autosaves not working. I think that's only happened on one of the updates, but that's something to be aware of. So make sure that you do manually save often as well to save you from losing progress. I think once I lost about 2 hours of progress in one of my live streams because of that, so just be aware of it. Also, because it's an update to the game, you aren't going to be able to use your mods in experimental. So be aware of that. I don't think you'll even be able to open up the game in experimental with mods enabled. So if you're struggling to get into the game and you have mods enabled, then that's probably the reason why. Another thing to point out about experimental branch is that you'll be able to, or at least you should be able to move your saves from your full release version of Satisfactory to experimental without any issues. However, any saves that you make in experimental will not be able to be brought back to the full release version of the game until the experimental branch update number is the same as the full release number and the two branches have merged. And finally, if you are updating to experimental right now, you will only be able to access the 1.1 branch once it releases to everyone. So just because you're in experimental doesn't mean you'll have access to it unless they've updated it to the Steam database and the Epic Games database. So if you're not sure, you need to wait for an update on Steam. They normally have a little post citing the experimental update and anything that's coming in that. And you could also check either on their Twitter or Discord in regards to whether the update's been released. Alternatively, like I mentioned, I am going to be streaming all day on Twitch and YouTube, working on my turbo fuel plan or getting prepped for that. I'm not sure which yet, depends what I do tomorrow. So by all means, you can join in and ask me about the update and whether it's been released, and I'll let you know. And of course, you can bet I'm going to be using all the new stuff and exploring what the update has for us from the get-go once it is released. But guys, we are going to leave it for today. If you're a new player and you found this helpful, please do hit the like button to help other new players find this video so that they can access 1.1 from the get-go nice and early before it releases the full release branch. And just a quick note, I will also be leaving to go on holiday next week. So if I suddenly go dark, you know why, but don't worry, I'm hoping to work on a few videos for you in the meantime so that you've got a little bit of content to munch on until I return. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much as always to all of our incredible supporters on Patreon, most notably our Lunar Eclipse patrons Firefless, The Calamity, Ben, Star and Seeker Kala, as well as our Blood Moon of the day, which today is Jenny. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.